Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. In this video, we're going to be going over a key lock door sort of clue system. So effectively what we've got is we've got a door that needs a code to open. And the code is hidden somewhere within the game. So there's a few things we're going to be doing here. One is going to be the animation of a door opening. It's just going to be a very basic slide open door, something like sci-fi sort of thing. The code block is going to appear when you approach the door, and the code is going to be randomly generated, and there's going to be three codes, and they're going to be spread across the game, and you've got to find which one it is. So there's a few things to cover. So the sliding door, the code block, the code entry and check-in, and also the sort of clues. So yeah, there's quite a few bits and pieces to it. And this video is brought to you by the Discord community. Obviously, a lot of what I do these days is not so much videos anymore. You've probably noticed by the slowdown of videos. But effectively, most of my time spent helping people more or less one-to-one on Discord. So if you've got any questions or if you're struggling with anything, feel free to join the Discord. And who knows, I might make a video about what you've asked me about. Anyway, so thank you to Jay. You know who you are. This video was birthed from you. So let's just have a quick look at what we've got. Now, just ignore all the other stuff in this project. This is a project built of a combination of so many people's questions. So there's all sorts of stuff going on. And if you recognise a few bits and pieces here, well, you know, hats off to you. Anyway, so what we've got is we've got this system here. We've got a big door. And at the moment, my clear button closes it. But when you approach the door, you've got to type in a number, hit confirm, and nothing happens if it's wrong. So what we're doing is, oh, we've got a random number here, 7582. Oh, there's another number over there, 3579. And I'm not going to be able to remember all these, but let's try 7582 first. So 7582. That's not the right code. So what was the other number? 3579. Skip that one. 3579. And that wasn't it either, so there must be another code somewhere. Oh, there's one. 8608. Let's try that one. 8608. And there we go. Door open, and the door closes behind you. Now, obviously, if you approach the door again, it'll prompt you for the same number. And then you can get through. So that's pretty much the project that we're going to do today. So yeah, let's. What I'll do is I'll just quickly pause here, start a fresh project, and we can start from scratch. Okay, so we've got a fresh project open. So what I'll do is we'll just start off with a door, I think. There is a chance that I'm going to break this video up into pieces, so I'm going to try and sort of modulize this video. Start off with some basics. So first things first, I'm just going to make the door because we're going to need a door. Obviously, I like to keep things simple. I like to make my videos beginner friendly. So first things first, content browser. We're going to right click and we're going to create an actor. BP underscore slide door. Just like that. Let's open that up. Now, sliding doors are quite simple to make. We're going to use a timeline for an animation. So it's relatively simple. Anyway, so head over to the event graph, and what we're going to want to do is I'm just going to delete all of these default nodes, and we'll pull them back in when we need them. So first things first, I need to make a door actually. So over on the components on the left, I'm going to go to add, and I'm just going to add a cube. And my cube is going to be, let's say, 2 wide. No, let's keep, yeah, 2 wide is probably a good number. And then we'll go maybe 3 high, real big door. And the Y is absolutely fine the way it is. Okay, and then we're going to need a collision box. A collision box just detects when something enters it or hits it. And so that's going to be for our character to walk into. So I'm going to look for a box collision. This box collision, I'm going to make, let's say, slightly wider on the width. So, what, 110. For the height, we're going to go for, what is it, 3... I guess it doesn't need to be bigger than the door, but we'll do 310 as well. Oh, that's the wrong way, isn't it? We'll do, what would it be? Maybe 70. So you have to bump into the door. You can't activate it unless you're actually going to the door. And then for the height, I think it's going to be 300. That's too much. 200. That's too much too. 180. 150. That'll do. It just covers the door in its entirety. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the cube and I'm going to click and drag on it and drop it onto the box. This has parented the actual door, let's say, to the collision box. Now, I'm just going to change the colour of my door to orange, just for it to fit the appearance. And what I'm going to also do is on our actual door cube, I'm going to add another cube, and I'm just going to shrink this down. So looking at the scale, it's already shrunk, so 0.1, and let's go 0.1, and we don't need the thickness to be that big as well, so 0.2, something like that. Drag this forward, and it's going to just be sort of like a superficial cord lock, just to give the appearance that it's somewhat rather than just a square. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that, pull one to the back. Oh, I'm going to try and pull one to the back. Pull one to the back just so it pokes out a bit. Pull it over to the other side, and there we go. So no matter which side you're on, it looks like there is at least something. Great. Hit compile. Now let's just chuck it into our game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this over here, rotate this around by 90 degrees, bring this up, and just place it on the actual ground. So we'll just block this doorway here. Now when I press play, I'm going to spawn all the way over here, and I'm going to have to run over here every time. So just for this tutorial, I'm just going to drag my player start. So then when I press play, we start in front of the door, and that looks alright. Sweet. So now what we're doing is we're walking into the door, and the overlap event is happening, but we've not actually written any code or a blueprint to say what to do when something overlaps. So let's select our collision box, and if you scroll down on the right underneath your details panel, eventually you'll get down to the events. Now the event we want is a begin overlap. So when a component overlaps this box, we want to do something, so we'll give that a click. And if you want to just get it out of the way, if you click back on your box, we also want an end overlap. So when we've entered it, do this, and when we leave the box or end the overlap event, do something else. Okay, so what do we want to do when we overlap? We want to move the door somewhere. So first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure the actor that has overlapped this box is a character. Now the way I like to do this, just to be cheeky, is I cast to a character class. So effectively our third person player, if we go to third person blueprint and get our third person character, if you open this up, you'll see in the top right hand corner that its parent class is a character. Now my actual class is a third person character, but its parent class is a character. Character is just something with arms and legs and can move around. So if we cast to a character, my character should successfully cast to this because of its parent. So let's say you've got something that moves around in your world and it suddenly overlaps your door. You don't want something else in the world to sort of interact with your door. And if this cast is successful rather than a failure, we know it's a character. So we cast to a character, and then we want to do something. So effectively, I'm going to add a timeline, and a timeline is something that has, well, it's a timeline. So it has a start and an end point, and what you can do is you can get certain information to, like you can have a number which is generated based on its position in that timeline. So it might start from 0 and end at 1, and we can have that number outputted via a timeline. So every time it updates, we can do something based on that new number. So we can go for 1 second, move the position of the door, and then if we play it in reverse, we'll bring the door back down. That's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to call this door slide. And to get inside the timeline, we just want to double click on it. Okay, so the length of the track. So this is how long do you want this thing to happen? Now, because we're doing an animation, I don't want a 5-second door open. That's going to be quite long. 1 second might be too fast, so I'm going to go 2 seconds. So length of 2, add a track, and you can add different types of tracks here, but I want to do a float track because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a lerp node, which basically just allows you to go from one location to another smoothly using a float value, which is referred to as an alpha. So we'll get to that in just a minute. So I'm just going to call this track alpha, which will be appropriate in just a minute. Now, this is the timeline by default, so we can see we've got 2 at one end and 0 at the other end. And if we hold shift and just click, we will get these little blue sort of dots. Now, these are almost like keyframes in some respect of we want a value assigned to these dots. So what I'm just going to do is with this first dot selected, I'm just going to neaten it up and say this is going to start at 0 and my value is going to be 0. And then the second one, I'm just going to change the time to 2 and I'm going to set the value to 1. So what's going to happen is over 2 seconds, my value is going to slowly increment towards a value of 1. And what we can do is, this is pretty linear at the moment. If you click on your first node and right click and set to auto, you'll see you get this nice smoothed, it'll gradually smooth in and then gradually sort of smooth out. So that's pretty much it. So we can close this little door slide timeline. And you can see now we've got this alpha node, this output. So this is going to go from 0 to 1 over 2 seconds. And this, as that changes, this update execute will keep triggering as this changes. So what we want to do is we want to do something called a lerp. And we want to lerp a vector. So effectively, but the reason we're using a vector is a position in the world. So it'll have an X, a Y, and a Z value of where you are. And if you hover over this entire node, you'll see a linearly interpolates between A and B based on an alpha. So we have 100% of A when alpha is 0 and 100% of B when alpha is 1. So as my alpha becomes 1 from 0, we will slowly transition our position from this place to this place. So what do we want to update? We actually want to update the location of our door. So what we can do is we can grab our cube. Let's grab the cube. The reason we want to grab the cube is because the door is going to slide out of the way, but if the actual whole, the whole box itself moves out of the way, our overlap event is going to end and the door is going to close on us because we're going to have it come back down when we've left the area. So if we only move the cube, the thing that's blocking us, the door, is going to move out of the way but leave the sort of collision box to detect once we've left the door's area, and then that door will come back down. That's effectively what we're going to do. So we're only going to move the cube. So with that cube just dragged out, what we're going to do is we're going to set location. So set world location, just like that. Go to update. So every time this timer sort of changes or goes from like 0.1 of a second, 0 to 0.1 of a second to 0.2 of a second to 0.3 of a second, every loop we're going to be changing this location, and obviously the alpha is going to be changing as well, so we can connect that up. And the output of this lerp is going to be where we want the location to be. So that's pretty much all set up. All we need to input now is just its location. So how are we going to get our cube's location? Now, you might think, oh, let's just get world location. Now, this isn't quite right, because as we update our world location, this is going to change. So we kind of need to know where the world location was to start with. So best thing for this, if we just take both of these and copy them, let's just get rid of that one. What we can do is we can now promote this to a variable and put original location. Let's put world location. World location. Just like that. So original world location. And we'll do this at the event begin play. So when we first press play in the game, this is just going to record where we've put the door in the world. And that's going to be our default location. So this is going to be A, so we can now drag that over and plug this in. So that's going to be our A. And where do we want the B to be? So what we can do is we can get that original location and we can actually add a vector to it. So let's add 200 units to the Z and pop that in as our B. So if everything works right now, what should happen is when we overlap this box, it should play and move from our original location to our modified original location. So 200 units above, and that's going to set the world location. Now, obviously, we want to do the opposite when we leave. So we can, again, we can check to make sure it was a character if we want to, but I find that a little bit unnecessary. You'll have to try it. Effectively, two things can enter at the same time, but if one thing leaves which is not the character, it could come down on the character. So it's probably a good idea to just double check that it is a character. Now, if it's multiplayer, you might want to make an array and have a unique, or make sure every act, there's nothing underneath it. You might want to do this a completely different way in multiplayer. Multiplayer is not considered in this instance. Try it, see what happens. Either way, when we end the overlap event, we're just going to check to see if it is a character, and then we're going to play this in reverse. Let's hit compile and let's play. I'm going to press save as well because sometimes Unreal likes to crash on me unexplainably, and it's really annoying, to be honest. So let's hit play and let's see what happens. So one thing's for sure, I need to sort that door out. I think I might have left it out of alignment. So let's move over. So the door moves out of the way, we run through, and now the door is closing behind us. Let's go back to the viewport, and why is our door so high up? So I've not messed that up. My door is no longer in the world. Where's my door gone? Sliding door, unloaded. Oh, Unreal, you're a nuisance. Third person maps. Let's open this map again. There we go. It's been reloaded. And let's just drag this door down to the world. Hit play. And there we go. So run over to the door. Opens up. Run away. Door closes. So looking at this now, maybe we do want the door to go a little bit higher. So I'm just going to come back and I'm just going to adjust that to maybe 250 units. So that's absolutely fine. So we've got a system now where we've got a door. Now, obviously, we don't need a code for this because effectively it's just going to open every time. Right, so now we need to make some sort of code lock.